What do we have here? Manze? Well, hey, what's up guys? How you doing? I hope you're poor. Welcome to another video, another demo video. The last one we did was about how to cook crabbed drumsticks, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned. Today we want to learn about how to set up the Blackmagic G2. It's a very big camera, a very good camera. So let's start with the basics, the two parts of the camera. We have the body and we have the lens. The lens is kind of different from the DSLRs. It's kind of wide, very long, but it has its advantages, which I'll share in a moment. Let's talk about the Blackmagic itself. The Blackmagic, there are two options. We have the cinematic version and we have the broadcast version. What we have over here is the broadcast version, the G2. Where do we start? Let's start with the battery. The battery is kind of different from the normal DSLR batteries, which are kind of small. This one is bigger. It's called the V-Lock. It works well with LED lights and big cameras like this ones. Now, how do you properly insert the battery? You see right here? Right here. I hope you guys can see right here. Right here we have terminals, and these terminals work well because they have the recipients over here. So what you have to do, there's a button right over here which you have to click before inserting. So you make sure it's okay. You come over here, like this. Come over here, you make sure there's a click sound. There's a click sound, guys. The click sound that you need to hear so that you can make sure that it's properly fitted in. That's the click sound. That means it's safe. It's safe for you to use the camera when the battery is installed. Now, the next thing you need to do once the battery is installed, you need to power it on. The power button is over here. It's on the upper surface on top of the camera. So you have to kind of just do that to remove a sound that means it's powering on. Yeah, as it powers on, we have a display. The display is over here. You just have to click it like this and open it up. This will allow you to see. As you can see, the display is dark. The reason why it's dark is because the lens cap is still intact. So let's talk about the lens cap for a second. The lens cap is an integral part of the camera because it prevents dust from getting into the lens. So what you have to do is now remove the lens cap. So you remove the lens cap. Once you remove the lens cap, I'm speaking from experience, you have to make sure that you store it well. This one is big, so it cannot easily get lost. But for the DSLR, you have to keep your lens cap safe. So once you have removed the lens cap, you can confirm that from the display, and yes, now I can see whatever the camera is seeing. Now let's talk about the features in this lens. Over here we have the focus. The focus feature allows you to now focus on the subject that is in front, and that allows you not to have a soft focus image. So the lens, after the focus, we have the zoom. The zoom, it has two buttons. You can use this, which is over here, but now the simplest one is this one. There's a button over here. I believe you can see these movements that is over here. This means that it's zooming in and it's zooming out, as I can see over from the display. So if you want a subject to come close, you can zoom in. If you want your subject to go further, you can zoom out. After the lens, we have the aperture. This determines the amount of light that get into the lens, and in turn, which gets into the final image that is going to be displayed in the display screen. Let's focus on this for a second. For the Blackmagic, they've designed the cameras so that you can work with it off the tripod. So this part is designed to be on the shoulder. That's why it's designed with this kind of a bend. It's designed with a bend so that you can literally put it on your shoulders. Now, once you put it on your shoulders, it's kind of uncomfortable without this part. Now, this is the part where it comes in. You slide your hand over here, and now you have a good grip of the camera, so it doesn't fall down, because as you can remember, it's not on the tripod. So once you put your hand like this, you have the option to now zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Okay. Yeah. We've talked about the upper part of the camera. Let's talk about the body. Let's focus on this side of the body first. If you look at this side, as I've mentioned, we have this button where you can click and now open it up so that you can look at whatever is on the display. But let's focus on the buttons that are on top first before we go anywhere further. We have this button over here. This is the ND filter. This now, when you're outdoor, there can be a lot of sunshine, a lot of lights coming into the camera. You can use the ND filter to now kind of filter into the light that is being allowed into the camera. So the numbers that are on there, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can now decrease the intensity of the light. We have this is the ISO. You can now increase the ISO or reduce the ISO depending on the light you want. we have the shutter. You can increase the shutter and as well decrease the shutter. We have the white balance over here. The white balance allows you to now have a kind of a neutral color. If you don't white balance your camera before you start shooting, you'll find that sometimes red can be blue somehow. So you can white balance it using this button. We have a red button over here. We all know what the red button does in everything. It does the recording. So once you have your camera there, you can just click record and it will record. I think I focus on that. I mentioned this is the power button, which is on top. It's literally the only button on top. So at the moment as you speak, it's on. Over here we have the display. I've talked about how you can click the display and now open it up. But before then, let's talk about the time codes and the brightness over here. As you can see out here, we have a kind of a screen, a display screen, but not really for the visuals. So if you click this first button, it's basically for the light. You can increase the brightness. This allows you to see the time code. If you click record, you can be able to see it 0 seconds to 10 minutes. If you're recording an interview, you can be able to track and know how long you've recorded the interview. What else is here? We have these channels. If you're taking your video from an XLR cable, you can now choose if it's channel 1 or 2 or channel 3 or 4. And you can literally lock the camera. It's over here. This is the lock button. You can lock it. But now I need it unlocked so that I can access these other parts. Let's get into the display. The one that is inside is detailed. As I've mentioned, we have this red button. The red button allows you to click record. If you look inside, there's another red button which allows you to record. On the display, you have another option to have a touch. If you see that I've clicked this, it's now recording. So you have basically 3 options. 3. You have 3 options in this Blackmagic to click record and stop recording. When I've clicked record, if you look at this time code on the outside, you hear that it has already started rolling. This will show you the estimate of the recording so far. So when I want to stop recording, I'll click the red button and it will stop. As you have noticed over here, right next to the red button, there's a color. There's a LED color which is currently white, but when I click record, it will turn to red. This is just to inform you that the camera is rolling. So even if you walk into a room, there's a Blackmagic and you realize that this button is on, you should be quiet because they are rolling. So I'll stop recording. Basically, I've taken you guys through the Blackmagic camera, the setup, how to install the battery. We've talked about the lenses, the focus, the aperture, the zoom, which can be operated here or here. We've talked about the ND filter, we've talked about the ISO, we've talked about the shutter, and we've talked about how to set up the white balance. We've talked about the LED screen. The one outside which shows the time code, and the one that is inside which gives you all the details and shows you exactly what you're seeing on the camera. Now, we have looked at how we can use this camera off tripod. We want to look at how we can use it on tripod. Now, the most important accessory is the shoe. The shoe is supposed to connect the camera and the tripod together. If you look closely at the shoe, you realize that there's a pattern. There's a pattern over here, which is supposed to fit in directly to the camera. If you look at this pattern, it's kind of a V. If I'm looking at, it's a V-shaped pattern. And if you look at the lower part of the camera, this part over here, you realize that there's a V-shaped thingy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the camera to the side like this, and I'm going to take the shoe. The shoe is supposed to slide into this V part. So I'm going to put it over here. And as I've said, the most important thing about setting up a camera is to always wait for that click sound. So we wait for that click sound. Bas, we are good. So right now you're sure that this camera is safe on top of a tripod. So what I want to do is I want to mount it up on a tripod. Let me just bring the tripod here so that you can mount it up. As I mentioned before, we have this part. This is supposed to now use as we now set it up on the tripod. Let's set it up. Now guys, we have talked about how to use this camera off the tripod. And I've talked about this part where you put it on your shoulder. Now I want to talk about how to use a tripod. Now, how do you mount this camera on the tripod? There's a red button over here where you have to pull up to the end. This will allow the camera to literally fit in. And as I've always said, you have to wait for the click sound. Now, let's wait for the click sound. Once you put the camera on top, remember, don't leave the camera until you hear the click sound. So once you put it on top, you slide it and then you hear the click sound. But before you leave it, you just kind of have to confirm, make sure it's firm and okay. And then now you can open the display, make sure that everything is set. You can now see what the camera is seeing on the display. Just a quick recap before we continue. We have the lens cap, we have the focus, we have the the zooming in, we have the aperture, we have the ISO, we have the shutter, we have the white balance, we have the battery, and I've taught you guys how you can click this button and mount it and also remove the battery. But now, the camera is not complete. The camera cannot record. Literally, when I click record, it won't record. Because why? Because there's no SD card. And you cannot put your SD card on if the camera is on. So first, we'll have to switch it off. Once the camera is off, you'll have to get your SD card and now mount it in. Let me show you where the SD card goes. The SD card comes here. There are different slots. The good thing about the Blackmagic, unlike any other camera, it offers you different types of SD cards. We have the old SD cards, but the modern SD card, the current SD card is this one. This is the current SD card. Currently using a 64 GB, and I'll mount it in. Again, wait for the click sound. Once the click sound is in, you can now power it on, and now you're ready to shoot. You're ready to roll. Let me just power it on. If it clicks record and it gets red here, then we are good. So yeah, once the framing is good, I can click record and it's working. So that's all you have to know about the setup and the mounting of the Blackmagic onto the tripod. I hope you guys have learned a lot. See you on the next video.